All right, we are live, Facebook Revolutionaries. So today is the day where you can ask me any sales questions that you have, whether you're having a hard time closing or opening up a conversation, or you're getting a certain type of objection that's always coming up and you don't know how to help people overcome it. This is the day that we're going to dedicate the next 35 minutes to, where you can ask me any question that's on your mind. Now we're going live. It looks like we're going live in the Sales Revolution Facebook group. We're going live on my personal Facebook. We're going live on my business Facebook page, and we're also going live on our YouTube channel. So we're going to try to get to as many questions as we can that I can actually see. Okay. Now, if you are brand new to the Facebook group, Sales Revolution, welcome. I am the founder and chairman of Seventh Level, and we're an organization that helps people exactly like you. So we help sales professionals like you. We help coaches. We help sales executives and management teams and entrepreneurs, business owners, and we help you transform the way you sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. What does that actually mean? Very key that you understand the difference of that. Those are known as neuro-emotional persuasion questions, stands for NEPQ. When you hear that called, I have to teach you the right tonality to put your prospects at ease, takes out the sales pressure, eliminates the sales pressure, and gets your prospects to want to engage with you, to actually open up to you and be willing to tell you the truth of what's going on, eventually persuading themselves. Now, I am traveling this week. I'm in beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, so hopefully you can hear me. I'm in this little office at our lake house going live for you, okay? Now, here's the rules of the ball game, and let me make sure that I believe we're live in all 4 channels. Yes, we are. Here's the rules of Okay, all right. So we're live here. I'm going to go ahead and go on my personal Facebook here so I can see questions from my personal Facebook. Okay, all right. So here's the rules of the ball game, because we're getting questions from people in the Facebook group. We're also getting questions from people on my private Facebook as well. Okay, now here's the rules of the questions. When you have a question, it helps me answer it if I know what industry you're in. If I have no idea what industry or what products or services you sell, I'm just throwing mud against the wall, hoping and praying that something I'm going to say is going to answer it. So say, hey, I sell insurance and here's my question, or I sell coaching and here's my question, or I'm a realtor, here's my question, or I'm in network marketing, here's my question, or I sell cars or SaaS or cybersecurity, here's my question, okay? That helps me understand a little bit more about what you're asking, all right? Now, if you want to know more details about how we can help you sell a lot more of your products and services than you are now, okay? Like we have for thousands of clients at this point. We're ranked number 1,232 fastest growing companies in the United States as well right now, according to Inc. 5,000 list. And as far as a sales training company, we are the number 1 ranked fastest growing sales training company in the United States by Inc. magazine, Inc. 5,000 list. Okay. Possibly we know a little bit about what's going on by now. Now, if you want to know more details about how we can help you sell a lot more, your team sell more, in the comment section, post hashtag NEPQ. So post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or Matt, our CEO, or Marco, our VP, will message you more details to see if we can help you as well. Now, for each of you that are on live right now, I want you to post hashtag live. So go to your phone real quick in the comments, and I'm going to have you post hashtag live down in the comments. I'm not answering any questions until you do. Post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, I'm going to have you post hashtag replay. So if you're on live right now, go post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, go post hashtag replay. Okay. Also, do you guys see the heart button, the like button? I want each of you to go, somebody's pounding it hard. Go pound the heart button, pound the like button several times. So I'm going to have you push the heart button, smash the heart button, smash the like button several times. The reason why we have you do that is it creates more engagement in our Facebook group. Folks, we have 10,500 some people in the Facebook group, Sales Revolution. It grows very rapidly, and we want them to be able to hear this training as well so they can get more help. All right, so I'm going to start with some questions that I'm seeing coming in. I'll do my best to get to as many of these as we can. The first question comes from a Facebook user. Your favorite way to create urgency without discount pricing? Yeah, I don't know who's asking that. Just showing Facebook user here on StreamYard, the device I'm on. So discounting pricing in our day and age doesn't necessarily mean that's going to create urgency, because most people feel, if you're like, let me call my manager and see if I can get a better deal, most people are not dumb enough, because they've had that technique used on them for so long that they know if they just like, yeah, I'm going to think it over. And if they come back in a week and they say, look, I'm going to buy that for that price, they know that 9 out of 10 times you're going to give them that price that you discounted it to, whether they buy that day or not. So discounting doesn't necessarily work that well to create urgency, because people have been used to that all the time. They know what you're doing. They know it's a sales technique. You can only create urgency by asking the right questions that work with human behavior. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Okay. When you first start out your sales calls, your discovery calls, your discussions, if you're meeting them in the boardroom or door to door or cold calling, it doesn't matter. Inbound, outbound leads, doesn't matter what you sell in any industry. You're first finding out what their current situation is. Okay. We call that their current state. We also have to find out where they want to be or where they want to go. We call that their objective state, or like what their future looks like once problems are solved. Now, what is the gap from where they are compared to where they want to be? What's the gap? The gap is the question, is your questioning ability that allows them to see what their true and real problems are. Okay. Now, you can't tell them what their problems are. And most of your prospects, you have to understand, when you first talk to them, don't know what their real problems are. They just don't. Or maybe they have an idea of a problem they have, but maybe they don't realize how bad the problem really is. Or maybe they don't understand the consequences of what's going to happen if they don't do anything about solving the problem. Or maybe through your advanced questioning skills that we can train you on, if you're one of our clients in our virtual training courses like we have for thousands, you're able to help them not only see that they have one problem, but you're able to help them see from your questions that they have 2 or 3 or 4 other problems as well. And when you're able to do that, it creates such a massive gap from where they are compared to where they want to be, that it creates massive urgency in their mind that they have to do something now, not later. Okay. If you cannot get them to see that from your questioning skills, because you don't know what questions to ask, you don't know how to clarify and probe deep enough or bridge where they open up to you, the gap becomes much smaller. And now there's no urgency for them to do anything, because they don't view the problem that bad compared to your price. But if the gap is so big in their mind from your questions, they view like, oh, I'm down here, I've got all these problems, and all I have to pay is this to get this solved, I'm in. Okay. If you're talking to a company that's losing $10 million a year and your solution's only $100,000 to solve that, then that looks like nothing. It looks cheap. But that's because you're getting them to think results-based thinking over cost or price-based thinking. Okay. So you have to understand that sales process. You have to understand the structure of the questions. One part of that process is called consequence questions. Now, consequence questions, and I'll give you an example of one before I move on. Consequence questions allow the prospect to question their way of thinking that's allowed the problem to still keep happening. Okay. So it's basically, but what are you going to do though if you don't do anything about this problem and the situation gets even worse? Now, that's a generic consequence question. We want to make those industry specific compared to what you sell. So let's say if you sold cars, I'm just going to throw something out there. But and let's say their biggest concern was their used car that they've had for years keeps breaking down, and they're worried that it's going to break down at one day and they're not going to get to their job and they're going to get fired. People have that concern. But hold on, what are you going to do if you don't do anything about this and you just keep the car you have now, and the car ends up breaking down and then you get fired? What would happen then? Okay, if that was their concern. Let's say, for example, let's say if you sold life insurance, it's the same thing, but you have to reword it. But hold on, what are you going to do if you don't do anything about, now you're going to third person. What are you going to do if you don't do anything about this? And then you end up passing away several years before you thought you would. And then your wife has to end up getting a second job. What would she do then? and your wife ends up having to get a second job just to even try to pay the mortgage. What would she do then? See, that's a consequence. That question builds urgency, okay? Now, you can't just go through your whole pitch and ask one consequence question and they're all of a sudden going to have urgency. You have to know connecting questions that take the focus off you and put it on them. You have to know situation questions that basically help you and them find out what their current situation is. You have to know problem awareness questions that help you find out what their real problems are and them, the root cause of the problem, and how the problem's affecting them. You have to know solution awareness questions that get them to focus on what their future is going to look like, their objective state once the problems are solved. You have to know that those questions for consequence questions to really hit. But that's how you create urgency, whoever asked that Facebook user. I could go on a lot more than that, but I'm going to go to the next question, okay? Okay, Jacob Ashleman is asking this. What is your thought process? Man, we've got about 50 questions here. I'm going to do my best here. What is your thought process? I'm coming up with the best probing questions. I'm in home improvements and sell multiple product lines. Some are easy to come up with questions and others I can't think of any. Well, Jacob, we train some very large companies in your industries that do hundreds of millions of dollars a year, okay? So I'm very familiar with your space as well, all right? We've got individual salespeople that sell what you sell that make 50,000 plus a month in commissions, selling kitchen remodeling or windows or whatever. Okay, it's all over this. Like salespeople that work for companies that make that type of commissions that we train. Okay, so it's easy to come up with those questions because you learn them in the virtual training courses that we offer. NEPQ 2.0, Advanced NEPQ 3.0, Advanced Inner Circle. We train you what those questions are, so you make those sales that you're probably losing right now. So probing questions basically come off the answer. So let's say if you asked problem awareness questions about, let's say you do, I don't know, windows. I'm just going to throw that out. I don't know what type of home improvement things you sell, but let's say windows, okay? And you find out that they don't like the windows for whatever reason, okay? So let's say they say, yeah, you know, the windows are bringing in some draft, and you know, our baby upstairs, like it gets really cold in the winter and the baby ends up waking up at night. So you want to probe off that. You want to help them relive that pain because that's just them saying that logically. You don't know how that's affecting them and the baby, do you? So whoa, hold on. You said the windows upstairs are not keeping the heat in and the cold air is coming in with your toddler. How long has that been going on for? Now, that's the first probing question. Why would I want to ask that? Because I want them to feel how long they've had the same problem and they haven't done anything about it. I want them to realize that in their mind. Let's say if they say it's been going on for the first year of the baby's life. Okay, so it's been going on since the baby's in there. So the cold air coming in like that, has that had an impact on you guys? Notice how I asked that. I got very calm at the end. So that cold air coming in with your toddler at night when they're trying to sleep, has that had an impact on you? Let's say I'm talking to the mom. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Well, in what way though? Oh my gosh, like I'm having to get up at like 2 a.m. and going in there and he's always cold and he's not sleeping. And well, see, I'm probing off of that. And she talks about how bad it is and she doesn't have enough energy to go to work the next day because she's always up because it's cold. See, that's when we learn how to probe. Okay, so we're finding out how long it's been going on. We're asking them in this tonality, okay, so that's been happening for the last 5 years. Has that had an impact on you? Or let's say if you're talking to a company. So that's been going on for the last 5 years. Has that had an impact on you guys? Okay. Third person, okay, the other people there, okay. Now, you can also, this is a probing question, okay, but whoa, but having that draft, you know, having that the cold air stay out, why so important to you now though? Well, we've got our baby up there. See, that's another probing question, okay. So hopefully, Jacob, that answered your question. I don't know what type of home improvements you sell, but it'd be the same thing for kitchen, countertops, cabinets. You know, we're training another big company now that does baths and showers for elderly people, okay, helping them get in and out. Pretty emotional sale because elderly people can fall and pass away if they're there by themselves. If they can't get in and out of the shower, they might slip. Okay, Jacob, I just saw decks are easy because I ask questions are based on the design. Fencing's hard because people think a fence is just a fence. But why do they want the fence, though? That's what you're not understanding, Jacob. Why do they want a fence? Is it because they want to keep intruders out? Well, why? Did their next door neighbor get robbed last month? Do they want to keep wild coyotes out because they live out on a farm? I mean, that's easy. Why did they want the fence in the first place? People don't just put a fence to, hey, I want a fence. There's a reason why they want to have a fence. Now, could it be that the mom wants a white picket fence? Why does she want a white picket fence? You might find out through your probing questions that when she was a child, she felt love from her family because they had a white picket fence. That's what clarifying and probing do for you. If you don't clarify and probe, see, it doesn't matter what the product is. There's a reason why he or she wants a fence. It's not just a fence as a fence. If it's a white picket fence, well, why does the wife want to? Okay, but having the white picket fence compared to just like a chain link, white picket fence, why so important to you now? Okay, because maybe she has trauma from her early life, and maybe a chain link fence reminds her of that trauma. We don't know, okay? We don't know until we clarify and probe. Hopefully that answers your question, Jacob. That was actually a really good question, actually. All right, let's keep going down the list here. I've got another Facebook user here. Hold on one second. I just lost everybody. Hold on. Whoa, we got a lot of questions here. Okay, I got another Facebook user. Okay, Facebook user, I sell life insurance. Our leads generated are union members. I train a lot of people in your space who send in a request, but it's not for insurance. They received a gift package that includes insurance programs. However, they don't know that when they fill out the card. How would I tailor my connecting questions so they're aware of what's happening without throwing a curveball when I get to the situation problem awareness questions? I have to know a little bit more about what that means. They received a gift package. What do you mean a gift package? Like a jar of peanut butter and some wine? What's a gift package? It includes insurance programs. So our lead generator union members who send a request, what do they send in a request for? I need to know a little bit more. What do they send in a request for? Okay, I need to know that because my connecting questions are going to be around that request. But what are they requesting? I'm not sure I understand. They're requesting a gift package, and then you have a little card about insurance quotes in there. I need to know a little bit more about that Facebook user. I don't know your name there. It's not showing me. It's just showing me Facebook user. And hopefully we can get back to your question because I need to know more details to help you with your connecting questions. Okay, let's keep going here. Facebook user, how would you approach a door before asking situation questions? Prospecting concepts, please. Okay, I need to know more information. What do you actually sell? How would you approach a door before asking situation questions? Well, what are you selling? I don't know what you're selling. So I need to know a little bit more from you. You got to get more details. Okay. Somebody from YouTube, is it Nagalali Mala? You got a cool name. My name's boring, Jeremy. Selling Salesforce CRMs, wondering the best structure of questions for uncovering needs. Well, I don't know if you're one of our clients. If you're in our clients, they're all in the virtual training course, from connecting questions to situation questions to problem awareness questions, which help them see what their real problems are and why they have those problems and what those problems are affecting them. So your CRM, what problems does it solve for a business? You need to write those down, and then you write the problem awareness questions around what your solution solves in those problems, okay? So I need to know a little bit more about that. I'm assuming your CRM, what does it do? Maybe it's for, I don't know if you sell the lead management side, maybe you sell lead management for Salesforce, like CRMs, and maybe their lead management systems they have now are clunky, they don't work, they lose leads. I don't understand. So it depends on what you sell, but you need to write down 2 or 3 problems that your CRM solves. And then if you're in our virtual training courses, we teach you how to write the questions around those problems to help them see what problems they really have. Okay. So hopefully you get into our training because we teach all that in there. All right. Gregory, hi, can I ask questions here? Yes, you can, Gregory. All right. Sandra Ventura. Hi, I do B2B. I do a 90-minute call. It's a service call and then sell consulting services. Okay, well, I wonder what type of consulting services you do. Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it scaling the company? Sandra, what type of consulting services? I do a free diagnose to the company. It's a bonus for they buy an online course. That's why they agree to do it. I have to do 30 questions to make a diagnosis. My question is, I should ask consequence questions when I'm doing questions, or when am I doing the diagnosis itself based on the questions? Yeah, so when you're doing a diagnosis, I wish I knew a little bit more about what you do. You say you do consulting services, but I don't know what type of consulting services. So when you're doing are you mean like you're doing a demo of something, or like you're doing a diagnosis of like maybe their software? Is that what you're asking me? I wish I could talk to you right here, Sandra. Can I pull you through the screen and talk to you? So when you're doing that, yeah, you should be asking situation questions, because you're finding out about what their situation is with, let's say you sell software, you've got to find out what their current situation is, and you've got to help them see that they have a problem. You can't tell them. You can't just go do a diagnosis and be like, you have this problem, you have this problem, you have this problem, because you're going to be like, okay, well, let's go get a second opinion from somebody else to see what their quotes are. That's exactly what they're going to think. A doctor doesn't just do a diagnosis just not by asking any questions. Okay. Like if your questions are all just technical, Sandra, that's where you're going to run into people just looking around and shopping around, because you're not pulling out any emotion. So in the diagnosis, I would ask some of your logical based questions, but we need to ask like consequence questions and situation questions. And because a lot of your situation questions really are more logical based. Okay. But when you're getting into problem awareness, you're finding out what it's actually doing to them. Like what are their actual problems with what they have now, and what's the root cause of it, and how is it affecting them? That's when they feel emotion, and they start to relive the pain by their answers to you, not just 30 diagnosis, logical based questions about X and Y and Z. That's not going to move somebody to want to do anything. Now, here's another question I have for you that I wish I could pull you in, because maybe I don't understand. Typically, because we train a lot of companies that like sell cybersecurity and SaaS and just a whole bunch of different things, B2B sales. Okay. And so they start off with a discovery call to help the prospect find out the current situation and what their problems are, if any. And then the second call, they would do more of a diagnosis or demo. So maybe you do that, maybe you don't, but I need to know a little bit more info on that one for sure. Okay, let's keep going. Luke said buttocks. There you go. That's funny. All right. Why are you making fun of my name, Gregory Buttocks? Oh, I'm not making fun of your name, man. I'm not making fun of your name at all. My name is Jeremy. I've got a boring name. I promise you that. I always tell my mom, like, why did you give me a boring name? Like, I was born in the late 70s and everybody was called Jason or Jeff or Jeremy. Like, what the hell's going on? Where I lived anyways. Okay, let's keep going here. Got a bunch more questions. Let's see here. I don't want to skip over anybody. Dang, there's a lot of questions. We got questions on my personal Facebook, the Facebook group, YouTube, and my business page. All right, Facebook. We have a Facebook user here from I'm in property investing education. What type of questions would you ask? So I'm in property investing. Okay. What type of questions do you ask on the first call after someone has downloaded their first call to action? Well, okay, on a first call, you'd want to ask connecting questions, because they take the focus off you and put it on them. Now, I don't know, do you do outbound leads or inbound leads? Because if you do inbound leads, it's going to be a little bit different, your connecting questions, than if you do outbound leads. Because outbound leads is just they left their name and their number. You're randomly calling. They don't know who you are from Adam. They just know somebody's going to call from the company. Inbound lead, they're booked on your calendar. They know they're meeting with, whoever your name is, and they booked on your calendar. So if you're in property investing, what type of questions would you ask on the first call after someone has downloaded the first call to action? Well, the first, like I said, I don't know if you do inbound or outbound leads, so I'm just going to take a wild guess. And let's say that you do inbound leads and they're interested in property investing. Now, when you say education, you're selling them like an education course about how to invest in properties. I'm assuming we train a lot of companies that do that, so I'm assuming that. Okay, so let's say they're an inbound lead. Okay, so John, looks like you're not going to start off with like, hey, how's it going? How's the weather out there? Oh, the weather's bad here. What do you like to do? Like, don't say those stupid questions. Nobody likes that. They know it's just you trying to, get them to identify building a relationship. That doesn't build a relationship in our day and age. I promise you that. They're so used to that, overused, trigger sales resistance to most people. But get to the point. Okay, so, all right. So John, thanks for being on here. So looks like you had booked on the calendar today about possibly, learning how to invest in properties so you could make more money. I'd say really the first part of this call is more for us to find out more about your background as far as like in investing. And then I would say really what you're, looking for, just really to see if we could actually help. Because there's just some people, there's just not much we can do for them. I was curious though, like when you downloaded the book that talked about X, Y, and Z, what was it about, what they talked about in the book that attracted your attention? And those would be the first part of your connecting questions. Oh, well, we attracted it because of this and because of that. Okay. And what were you hoping to get out of the call with us today, just so I have a better understanding? Those would be your connecting questions on an inbound lead if you're selling like property investing education to somebody who wants to learn how to invest in properties and make more money. Hopefully that helped you. If you do outbound leads, it'd be a little bit different there. Okay. All right. The call to action I'm referring to is a webinar that they missed. I'm not sure who's saying that. Scaling the company, Sandra. Okay, so now I see your thing, Sandra. Scaling the company. I can't remember your freaking question, Sandra. Let me go back up there and see what your question was again. I can't remember. Let me look. Okay, so you teach them how to scale. So basically, yeah, because we train a lot of companies in that too. So, I mean, we train like 400 some different industries. But in fact, I've got a couple like big sales reps in my advanced inner circle program that train. They do consulting services that teach companies of any size really how to scale that company. If they're 6-figure company, how to go to 7 or 8 figures. If they're 7-figure, how to go to 8 figures. If they're an 8-figure company, how do you scale to 9 figures? So they're always focused on systems and processes and lead generation typically. Okay. So they do a first call discovery call because you're pulling out their emotion. Okay. And then typically on the second call, they're doing more of a diagnosis on what they already have as far as their systems, but it's mainly a demo on basically how their systems that they can plug in are going to get them to scale. And then usually on a B2B call, the third call is a proposal and a close. That's typically what the companies we train, that's how we have them set up. It's a little bit different depending on the size of the company you're talking to. If it's an SMB, it usually can be a 2-call close, maybe a 3. If it's a Fortune 500 company, sometimes might take a 3-month close where it's like 5-6 different meetings. You got to meet with the board. Sometimes you have to meet with legal. It's just a little bit different. I don't know who you're selling to, what type of clientele. Okay, hopefully that helped you. Okay, let's see. I've got somebody else here that said, hold on here. Let's see here. All right. Another Facebook user, Fire, switched over from your private page to Sales Revolution. Maybe you answered this already. I sell ag fertilizer B2C. Okay, well done. How do you work with people that say, I just started working with a new consultant to fix an old problem? What do you mean by that? So how do you work? So is this person an inbound lead or an outbound lead, or is it a cold call? Because that would be 3 different conversations. So whoever you are, I need to know a little bit more details on that one. If we don't have time to get back to your question, bring that question back to me next Thursday, because I need to know, is the person you're talking to, is it a cold call? Or is it somebody who's booked on your calendar, or is it an outbound lead? Because those responses would be 3 different ways. We teach all that in our virtual training courses as well, though. So if you want to know more details about that training, just post #NEPQ in the comments, and then somebody will message you more details. All right. All right. Let's see. Jacob, what do you do when you probe and the customer doesn't open up that much? Okay. Customers don't open up if your tonality is just whacked, or if you probe too fast. Okay. So let me give you an example of how you don't want to do it. Okay. So let's say I'm asking a consequence question. So John, what are you going to do if nothing changes and you don't do anything about fixing the problem? Well, that sounds like a robot, like I'm reading it from a script. But if I say it in this way, oh, okay, but what happens if your company doesn't do anything about this and the situation gets even worse? See how that sounded completely different? And it causes a prospect to have a completely different reaction. Okay. So that tonality is what we teach in our advanced NEPQ 3.0 training with our sales trainers in our group coaching, and advanced inner circle with me, our vice president of sales, Marco, who's a beast himself, and our CEO, Matt, which is a huge beast. Okay. So you have to learn the tonality. It's not just the questions, Jacob. It's how you're asking the questions and when. So I'd have to hear, like in our inner circle, we break down sales calls from our inner circle members and we show them what they did right and what they did wrong so they don't mess up anymore. So it's all about your tonality. So people do not open up when you're probe. It's because you sound scripted and you don't sound natural, okay? And your tonality is off and it sounds salesy. Either you're saying it too fast or you're sounding like you're reading from a script. One thing that really helps your tonality, even if you're on a phone call and they can't see you, is just moving around like your arms and your facial expressions, okay? If I sit here and says, what are you going to do if nothing changes? And I'm like completely like still like a robot, I can't have the same tonality. If I'm on the phone, like, well, okay, but help me understand what happens if your company doesn't do anything about this and you keep getting these lower qualified leads to your salespeople and your sales keep stagnating even more if that was their problem. But see how I said that, how I moved around a little bit? That affects my tonality. And especially if they can see me, they see my facial expressions that I'm more skeptical, that triggers their brain to think deeper about the question I'm asking because it sounds natural. It sounds like a human conversation. But if I'm sitting here and I say this, but what are you going to do, John, if nothing changes and you keep getting these unqualified leads and to the salespeople and your sales keep stagnating? Well, I said the exact same question, but which is going to pull out more emotion and cause them to think deeper? The second one, that consequence question as an example, is going to trigger them not to open up. Well, we just have to figure it out. I don't know. We'll figure something out because they feel like they're being sold because it's like a script. Okay. You have to make it natural. Just like being a Hollywood actor or actress. Do you think freaking Tom Cruise or George Clooney or, the lady that plays the Black Widow, what's her name? I can't remember her name. She's awesome. Do you think they go in for an audition and they read the script? Yes, I would like to. No, they come in there, they're moving around and they've rehearsed it and they know their lines and it sounds natural. If you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as a sales professional, I don't care what industry you're in, you have to memorize your questions. You have to memorize your lines and make them sound natural because that's going to get people to open up, if that makes sense. Hopefully that helped you a little bit, Jacob. All right. Okay, I've got time for probably one or two more questions here. Why you add me for I don't want to be here? I don't know who that is. Let's see here. Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm a professional sales at University of Texas, Dallas, doing a mock role play for any corporate sponsors who definitely invest in your trainings once I graduate. Congratulations. That's awesome. Get into sales, highest paid profession if you have the right training. If you don't have the right training, you won't make that much money because it doesn't matter the personal development you go through, if you journal, if you meditate, none of that matters when your prospect picks up and answers the phone. If you don't know what questions to ask with the right tonality that triggers them to want to open up to you, to want to engage with you and actually trust you. If you don't understand that, you're not going to make a ton of money in sales. Folks, you have to learn these skills. You don't learn these skills, I can promise you we are getting bigger and bigger every single day of the week. Companies out there are starting to learn these skills. Your competitors are learning these skills. And I promise you, if you don't learn them yourself, you are going to get crushed by your competitors who are learning them. I can promise you that. All right. Got another Facebook users. I sell merchant services. Love that. We train a lot of companies in that space too. I've got salespeople in that space that make $100,000 a month now that were making like $7,000 a month when they started this training. I have CRM. Okay. I sell merchant service. I have CRM with our processing that the merchants can send email, text, and whatnot. The business owners I meet with seem to be content and don't want the updated equipment to help to grow the business. Well, why is that? Because they get pitched by merchant service salespeople like every other day. I guarantee you they do. Okay. So, but they get pitched when you come across like pitchy and salesy, they're just going to turn you down when you're focused on your solution. If you come in there like, oh, our CRM can do this and can do that, that doesn't mean anything to your prospects. It goes in one ear out the other. Okay. It's just a knee-jerk reaction by you talking about your solution too early in the conversation. Content don't want the updated equipment to help grow the business. They like where they're at. How would you challenge, motivate someone to see what a little more effort that can be automated eventually can earn more? My POS systems price is comparable as well. always saving owners money though. So I know okay, that's all I can see. So you're cold calling. So I'm assuming you're walking into a company, whether it's a mom and pop store, a laundromat, could be a big business, and you're cold calling. Okay. And I'm assuming you're walking in saying what? Hi, is the owner here? Yeah. Who are you? How can I help you? Yeah, my name is John Smith. I'm with XYZ Merchant Companies. And the reason why I came by was, and you start talking about your solution, and it's going to go one ear, out the other, because everybody says that. And they put you over here in the corner with all these other salespeople that say that, and they commoditize you and they try to get rid of you. That's called fight or flight syndrome by what you're triggering from what you're saying. Okay. Now to fix that, we want to basically come up with what's called a problem statement. I've only got 2 minutes. So I'm not going to be able to do this with you. If you want to know more details about our training, because we teach all of that cold calling techniques, even to salespeople like you, merchant services, got a ton of salespeople we train in that space. In the comment section, just post hashtag NEPQ and we'll message you to see if we can help you as well. But you want to come up with a problem statement around 1 or 2 problems that any person you're talking to can identify with. Okay. So I might come in, hi, let's say that you're talking to, let's say that you come into like a laundromat and the business owner is just right there. It's a small business. There's no admin person. Yeah, I was wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment. Sure. How can we help you? What's it all about? Well, I'm not quite sure if you're the right person to talk to. I had stopped by your store to see if your company would be open to looking at any possible hidden gaps or issues around blank that could be causing you to blank. Now, you have to go fill those blanks in. I don't have time to do that for now. In our virtual training course, we teach you how to do that, okay? So let's say if it's merchant services, I'm just going to throw something out there. It might change us. Any hidden gaps in your merchant processing that could be causing you to overpay each month. You know what they're going to say? Hold on, who are you with again? Or hold on, what's this all about? Or what do you mean by overpay? Or what do you mean by hidden gaps? And then you're going to say, oh, yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to offend you. What I do is you know how, and you're going to go over 2 or 3 problems that most of these people have that they know about, and how what you do solves those. It's called your personalized intro. Now, I don't have time to go through it now. I've got a meeting in about 30 seconds. But hopefully that gave you enough ammo. But like I said, if you want to learn all those skills, because in our virtual training courses, which are like 22 hours, some of training, plus all the live training that we do and coaching throughout the week that's live and recorded, we teach all that. So you would know exactly what to do on every single person you talk to, and you'd probably make 4 to 5 times more than you're making now. All right. Thanks, everybody, for letting me answer your questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to everybody's. There's like 30 more on all these other platforms. I need to make this like a 3-hour call, I think, on Thursdays or something like that. Thanks for being on. We'll see you next week. If you want to know more details as well, how we can help you sell a lot more of your products and services, in the comments section, post hashtag NEPQ. And either myself, our CEO, Matt Ryder, or VP, Marco, will message you more details to see if we can help. Now, if you're on our YouTube channel now, or if you're on my personal Facebook and you're seeing this live, because we're going live on all those platforms, and we're also live in the Facebook group, you want to join our Facebook group, because I typically only go live most of the time in our Facebook group. Every once in a while, I'll do a live on YouTube or a live on my personal Facebook, which is maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. But in the Facebook group, we go live about 4 times a week with different trainings, different Q&As. We give away trainings, little slivers of little hors d'oeuvres to wet your tongue, okay? So if you want to join our Facebook group, we're going to post, I'm going to have Nick, I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to have Valerie, I'm going to have Chris, I'm going to have the Luke's post on the YouTube channel and my personal Facebook and my business Facebook. I'm going to have them post a join the Facebook group link, Sales Revolution. You just join for free. Just click on it. It's like a 2-question survey, so we know what industry you're in, what products or services you sell. It helps us prep better training for what you sell as well. And right when you join, check your DMs, because we're going to message you. We're going to tag you and message you a free training on how to prevent objections from even happening. It's called Objection Prevention. It's a free 35-minute training that I did a while back. We give it to you for free, so enjoy that. So we'll post those Facebook group links here. Click on them to join the group, and we'll see everybody next time we go live in the Facebook group. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.